Hey guys, Faisal here from Faisal Codes. Today we're going to be taking a look at how to set up and configure a Ubuntu server. We're going to be downloading the ISO and I'll be showing you the website. We're going to be creating a new virtual machine from start so you guys will see the whole process. We're going to be configuring the IP using the network manager command statically. So that's going to be really fun. It's going to be similar to my previous video, but just a little bit of a difference in commands since this is Debian based. This is going to be using a different package manager. So in the last video, I was using Oracle, and Oracle is Yum based. So Red Hat, you got CentOS, you got I said Oracle, yeah. So CentOS, Red Hat, Oracle, and there's another one I'm forgetting, but there's more. So those are Yum based, or the newer version is DNF based actually. Um, so you can use Yum and DNF. But for the Ubuntu, we're going to be using apt. So the Debian based, it's Debian and Ubuntu and some other distributions as well. They use apt package manager. So let's get started. All right. So first thing, we need to get the ISO. So let's actually get the ISO. Ubuntu ISO. Click the first link. And not to worry, I'll put this link in the description, so you guys can easily, navigate through it. All right. So there's two versions. We're actually going to be going with the Ubuntu 22.04.1 LTS, and LTS stands for long-term support. If you take a look over here, long-term support, and this is supported until April 2027. So we have quite a bit of time until things get depreciated and they move on to newer things. All right, so what you want to do is you want to click download and give it a few seconds. All right, so you'll see the download on the bottom has started. Depending on your internet speed, the download will vary. So I've already installed it. I'm going to cancel this and we're going to continue with the installation. But that is the exact ISO that I have. All right, so let's open up virtual machine. I'm sorry, VMware Workstation. I'm not going to be using Oracle. And then in the next video, I might use Oracle for a different video. But for now, we're going to be going with VMware Workstation. All right, let me make this a little bigger if I can just get it right. All right, I'm going to click on create a new virtual machine and let's browse. And I'm going to click Ubuntu. This is the ISO that I've downloaded. And then click next. Let's give it a name. So I'll give it Phase. For the username, I'll give it Faisal. And I'll give the password. Just keep in mind that if you do put a capital in this, it will prompt you saying no caps, only certain characters. So just a heads up. All right. We'll name this Ubuntu 22.04. Should be all right. I'm going to allocate 60 GB to this and store it as a single file. If you guys don't know what the difference is, essentially with the storing a single file, it means that all the documentation, documents and files will be stored as a single file. Meaning if I want to send, say, um, if I want to transfer like to another server, uh, it'll be a little bit slower since I'm not putting it in multiple files. With multiple files, you can actually transfer over like with chunks. So say if you're transferring a 20 gig file, you can actually do 20, I'm sorry, 2 gigs up to all the way to 20, or you can do 4 gigs all the way up to 20. You get the point. So for this case, I'm just gonna go with the single file. I click next, click finish. We'll customize the hardware once the setup is complete. So now it's just gonna do its thing, and we're gonna wait a few seconds. Feel free to fast forward this. It's just a lot of waiting, a lot of loading. Um, but yeah. All right. So now we're at our installation. So I'm just gonna go to default, continue. I don't know why that didn't click. All right, so for this one, I'm gonna actually go with minimal installation. I don't want web browsers, utilities, office software, games, and media players. It's just gonna be bloated and it's gonna take quite a bit. So I'm just gonna go with minimal installation. If you guys want, you guys can go with normal installation. There's nothing wrong with that. It's essentially the same, but just more packages. All right, and I'll leave download updates while installing Ubuntu. So while it downloads, while it installs, we'll be getting the updates and install third-party software for graphics and Wi-Fi hardware and additional media formats. I'll leave that unticked. Press continue. This computer currently has no detected operating systems. What would you like to do? We're going to pick the first option, erase disk and install Ubuntu. So there's actually nothing on the disk at the moment. So it's going to format the disk so that we don't have any issues, and then it's going to install the Ubuntu on it. And this is going to be on the 60 GB that we allocated to. All right, let's click install now. And this is just a prompt telling us about the changes to the disk. We'll press continue. And since I'm in Ontario, Toronto, I'm going to be picking Toronto, but if wherever you're located, you guys can change that. I'm sure it will auto pick up if you have your locations on, so just press continue. All right, let's give it a name. So I'll give it Faisal. And this is going to be, I believe, the computer name is going to be our host name. So we'll leave that as default as well. And pick a username, that's going to be as default as well. And then we'll put a password. Hopefully I don't expose it this time. And I'm going to keep the require my password to log in. Um, that way it's just more secure, although this is just for test purposes. Press continue. All right, now it should take a few seconds. You guys can fast forward this. I'm actually gonna have a yogurt in the meantime. Looks like it's almost complete. Just in time. Just finished my yogurt as well. Okay, now it's complete. Click on Restart Now for the updates to take effect, or the installation to actually take effect. All right, let's log in. I'll make this bigger. We'll skip this. Click Next. Sure, we'll send information, info. Okay, yep. Privacy, you click Next. Click Done. All right, so now we have the Ubuntu server configured, or actually set up. We don't have it configured just yet. So we're going to click on Activities on the top and type in Terminal. And now we got our terminal open. Make that bigger. All right, so let's take a look at our host name, CTL. So that's our host name. Our host name is right here as well. We can actually change our host name. Set host name server. Oh, I did not mean to install that. All right, we'll cancel the updates for now. Um, all right, yeah. So let's take a look at our IP first. So instead of putting if config, what we do is we put an IP space /4 for IPv4, and then we put in space and A for address. Press enter, and right now we're on the 192.168.52 network. So I believe I'm on the 50 network, so we're gonna have to change the IP. Yeah, I'm on the 50 network. So let me just see if I can ping Google. Okay, so I can ping Google, and I believe this is NATed, so it's network address translation. Let me actually put it into bridge mode. Yep, it is NAT. You also want to go to configure adapters if you have any problems with the bridged connection. So you click on the configure adapters, and then there'll be a prompt. Click yes, and you can untick off the adapter 2 and the virtual adapter 1 if you're having any problems, and just leave on the Intel Wi-Fi 6. Yours will be different, of course, but just turn the Intel Wi-Fi card on if you're having any troubles. All right, let's continue. All right, now it's in bridged mode, so let's take a look. nmcli const show. All right, so I'm actually going to add nmcli con add con name, type will be Ethernet because we're using bridge mode, and IPv4.address is 192.168.50. We'll go with 25. Sure, we'll go with 25, and we're going to use the 24-sider. That's because we're on the 255.255.255 subnet, and that falls under. So let's just take a look. Subnet cheat sheet. Subnet cheat sheet. What's going on? I am connected. All right, we'll let that load. We'll actually set up the IP for now. So we're gonna go with 25, and then IPv4.DNS 8.8.8. Oh, I forgot the IPv4 gateway. IPv4.gateway 192.168.50.2. All right, so you see that that's my default gateway, and default gateway is what um, we need to talk to the outside world. So from our home network, our devices that have the private IPs talk to the default gateway, and then from default gateway, that goes out to the internet, the web. All right, so press enter. Type ether. This is in quotations. That's kind of strange, huh? All right, we'll take out the type for now. Yeah, we'll take out the type for now. Why not? Hmm. I am so confused. Let's take out the gateway as well. What's going on? Invalid or not allowed, setting 192. Am I putting that in right? Con admin. Oh, wow. I didn't even specify the name. They got me there. All right, so the con name will be EN200. All right. And then we'll put in the type, Ethernet. I hope we don't have any problems anymore. We'll put in IPv4.gateway and 192.168.50. 192.168.50.2. And all right, it's been created. Awesome. So I was forgetting the name. I didn't specify the name for the network. So let's see, nmcli const show. All right, so we have our, um, actually that's not it, our network over here. All right, so let's bring the default one that's been generated for us. Let's bring that down. And we're gonna actually use the UUID. The name actually doesn't work. I've tried that. I've also tried the device, but on Ubuntu, for some reason, I can't get the name to work when I want to bring it down. So in this case, we'll just use the UUID. That's okay. Copy that down. All right, so that one's down. Now let's bring up the EN200 that we just created. All right, now that's up and running. Let's check our IP. So I showed you you can check your IP by IP-4 and then A, right? You can also put an IP ADDR and then show for IP address show. And now let's take a look. So it should be EN200. I do not see it here. Okay, so I believe that's the device name. And we did set it to 25. So let me take a look again. Client show. And so, yeah, so the name um, is a little different. This is the name that we gave it, but this is the actual device, which makes sense. Um, it's just a little difference compared to the Oracle that we were using in our previous video to configure the network manager. Okay, so, all right, so let's see if we can ping Google. All right, so we can ping Google. Let's see if we can SSH into, oops, let's SSH into our server. So my name, Faisal at 192.168.50.25. Connection refused. Wait a minute, let me see if we have the SSH installed. So systemctl status SSH. Okay, no, we don't have the SSH service, so that's why we can't actually SSH into it. So to do that, this is perfect actually. So let's install a package. In the previous videos, we've used the Oracle, like I said again. This time we'll be using apt. Um, since we use, okay, let me rephrase that. We were using yum in the previous videos because that was Oracle, Red Hat, CentOS. Those are different distributions that required yum or DNF package manager. In this one, we're going to use apt. So simply put an apt, and then we'll put an install. And then in this case, we want SSH. So it's a little different. You just don't put an SSH, right? You put in open SSH and then server, hyphen server. All right, we need to be using sudo. All right, we're gonna type in Y, press enter. All right, now we should have the SSH service. So let's check systemctl sshd. All right, so we have the SSH service running on port 22. Awesome. Now let's try to SSH into this. Roots at Faisal at 192.168.50.25. Awesome. Now we can SSH into our Ubuntu server. That's awesome. Cool, 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 cool. So now we configure the IP statically using the network manager command. And we have actually also installed the SSH service using the apt command. All right, now let's take a look at the configuration file that you can use to configure the IP instead of using Network Manager. So I don't believe I've shown you the configuration file in my previous video, which is etc/sys config, and then I believe it's network scripts, or it's etc/network scripts. Um, I forget at the moment, but that's pretty much where the configuration file resides in Oracle, Red Hat, and the Yum-based distributions. In this one, it's a little bit different. It's actually etc, so we'll cd etc/netplan, and this is where the configuration file resides in Ubuntu. So now if we do ls and list all the content, you'll see the network manager configuration file. And if you don't have this file, not to worry, just create the file, name it whatever you like, and then be sure to give it the .yaml extension. That's key. You need to give .yaml for it to work. All right, so uh, server works. That's awesome. Now let's actually bring down the, how about I just remove this so that way it doesn't cause any conflict. nmcli con deletes. Oh, I didn't put connection, con delete, en. Let's try if I can delete it with the device name, ens33. Yeah, see, that's kind of strange. ens33, the device name, it doesn't work. Now let me try to delete it from the actual name, which I gave en200. Okay, that makes sense. All right, anyways, we deleted that. Um, Let me actually try to delete this as well. Since the name worked, it should work with this. Con delete wired connection 1. Yeah, no, that didn't work for this one. But if I put in the UUID, that works. Okay, so now we should have no interfaces. And there you go. So let's do nmcli con add con name, and we'll give it en22 instead of 200, and we'll say type Ethernet. All right, so we didn't specify any IP. We're actually going to do that in the configuration file. So we're already in the directory etc/netplan. We're going to sudo use the sudo privileges and sudo nano into the 01 network manager all.yaml. All right, so we're using the version 2, and the renderer that we're using is network manager. There's also a network manager, network D renderer, but in this case, we're going to be using the network manager re-renderer. Um, all right, so I actually have this in the notepad that what we need to do. That way it's a little easier. So we have the version 2, and instead of network D, we're actually going to be using network manager. And then we're going to specify the Ethernets like we usually do. So in the network manager command, we specify what type we want. So this is the type. We want the type Ethernet, and we're specifying the interface that we created, and the nmcli that we just created, the interface, but we didn't assign any IP to it or any DNS or gateway. So we're going to do that in this configuration file. So let's copy this, and am I in here? Yeah, let's paste, and let's change up the default gateway to, and let's change the IP to, let's use 30 this time, since last time we used, I believe it was, well, this is down, we don't have any connection, but yeah, it was 25. So we're going to use 30, and we'll leave the DNS, Cloudflare, and Google. And is there anything else that we need to change? Yes, we need to change the interface name. So we gave it en22. Right? So whatever you name it, you have to put it over here, so that way it can actually communicate. All right. So let's exit out of here. Control X, and then we're going to press Y. And now I'm going to press enter on my keyboard. All right. Just confirming en22. That is what I put. Yep. All right. So we're going to cd to slash, although you don't need to. I'm just going to do it anyways. I'm going to type in netplan try. Oh, with sudo netplan try. And now it's telling us to press enter to accept the configurations. And if we don't press enter within 120 seconds, it's going to revert to the configurations that it had previously, which was just it was just pretty much the network, the version 2, and the re-render. So we'll go back to that if we don't press enter. So press enter. All right, now to apply the changes, we put in netplan apply. We need to use sudo, otherwise it won't let us. All right, it's saying the gateway 4 has been depreciated, use routes instead. But I believe the gateway 4 still works at the moment, so we should be okay. Now let's do IP -4a. that's not the IP that I configured. I believe it was 30. Let me just make sure. Okay, so we haven't actually brought that up yet. Okay, I get it. Um, so we're gonna say nmcli con down en222, and we're gonna put nmcli con net plan en22. Did I type that wrong? Oh, I didn't put con up. Con up. Mismatching interface name. Hmm. Uh, Bring up both of them actually. Net plan. No suitable device found for this connection. Device EANS33 not available because profile is not compatible with the device. Mismatching interface. Uh, I'm going to actually use the UUID for the one we just created, the EN22. Okay, there seems to be an issue, mismatching interface. Although there is no, uh, okay, this possibly could be the reason. Uh, Let me actually con add, con name. Okay, EN200. So let's go back into sudo nano etc net plan, and we're going to configure this Ethernets to 200. Control Y, Control X, and then we're going to press Y on the keyboard, press Enter, and net plan. We got to use sudo net plan. Try, press Enter, net plan. Keep forgetting the sudo net plan. Apply. All right. Okay. So let's check our IP. We still have 22, which I'm not sure why we still have that. I know that it generated 50.30, yeah. Gateway, network, manager, okay. And then we'll bring it up. Oops. So I believe we don't actually have to create EN200 that we just created, the interface. I believe when we configure it and we press net plan try and apply, it creates the device. But for some reason, it's not picking up. Ah, I see, I see. So what we haven't done is we haven't actually added another network adapter. So let me add another network adapter because there's only one. So I believe that's what's causing the conflict. So I'm going to click on bridged, click OK. We might have to create it again, but might not. So let's see, con show. Okay, now let me try to up this with using the UUID. So now that we have two adapters, these two interfaces should not have any conflict. No suitable device found for this connection device. Um, how about I completely delete EN200? And how about I completely delete netplan as well, and then retry. Yeah, no, I'm gonna delete net. Okay, now we should have nothing. Okay, awesome. So let's do sudo netplan try, enter, sudo netplan apply. Now let's see. Okay. Um, let's see our IP. Okay. So um, this was generated by on its own when we click that. So we have ENS37. Okay, let me specify the device name over here. So uh, okay, I haven't used sudo. Oops. All right, so it's been configured to ENS37. Netplan sudo netplan try and netplan apply IP4A. Okay, so now we have 30 that we originally wanted. Okay, so it's a little bit different. Um, it actually generated the um, the device when I put netplan apply and netplan try and then netplan apply, try and then apply after. So it generated a wired connection with the device name, um, but it didn't configure it to the actual thing. So when it does that, just configure the device name that's been generated and put it into the configuration file, and then do netplan try and then apply to change the configurations. All right, let's ping Google. Google is now resolving. I believe I put the DNS in there. I am confused why that's the case. Yeah, that seems to be right. I'm so confused at the moment. Um, Let me try bringing this down and then bringing it back up so there's no conflict. Okay, so we needed to bring the network down and then up again. So now we have connection. So we can we can ping Google, and I believe now we can SSH into the .30. So we'll use Faisal at 192.168.50.30. Awesome. So that took a little bit to kind of get the hang of, but I believe what we need to actually do, so let me sign in first. Um, so the issue was that we don't actually need to create the interface using nmcli when we're configuring with the just the configuration file. We just need to actually put the configuration that we want. So in this case, we went with the Ethernet's ENS37 since we are using the bridge mode, right? So we specify the interface. Um, then we actually, sorry, the adapter, and then we gave the address that we wanted. And keep in mind, guys, we need to keep this format. Otherwise, you guys will run into issues. So just take a look at how this has been done. I'm sure there's forms where you guys can copy and paste the base template and then change it to your liking. So just keep in mind if you do have a problem, um, just change the uh, indentation. All right. So that was the issue that we were having with this. We didn't actually need to generate the um, network interface because we already had the adapter. So we just needed to configure the file. But the thing is, we didn't have any devices at the moment, or at the moment when we were doing the configuration. So we kind of actually had to um, use nmcli because we deleted all the other network interfaces that we had. So we actually needed to generate it, and then we needed to actually configure it. So it was a little bit of a different process, but that's essentially how you configure it in the configuration file, etc slash etc slash netplan, and then the YAML file. All right, now let's take a look at the nmtui, the graphical user interface. So nmtui, and it looks very similar to the one we've seen in the previous video. Let's actually edit the connection, and let's do netplan. Okay, so I'm going to actually change this to 50, and I'll leave everything else the way it is. Click OK, go back, and click OK. And then I believe it's nmcli con down, net plan, and then we'll bring it back up. And let's take a look at our IP, .50. So it was .30 last time, now it's .50. Okay, now let's try to ping Google. That should work. nmtui, let's actually try to edit the connection again. Interesting. We'll put in 45, or actually rather we'll just put in 40. Keep everything default. Click escape, and then we'll click on OK. And then we'll bring it down and up again. Can we ping Google now? Nope, we cannot. Let me try bringing the putting netplan try and netplan apply. Let's see if that worked. Okay, so you do need to put netplan try and then netplan apply for it to actually take effect. Let me actually try one more thing to see if we need to actually use nmcli con down, or if we just need to use the netplan try and apply. So let's take a look again. Edit connection, netplan. Now let's change it to 50, what we had originally. Go to OK, press enter, press escape, and go down and click OK. All right, so we shouldn't be able to ping anything at the moment. Okay, interesting. What's our IP? Okay, so it's still on the 30, so it still has the previous IP that we were configured. So that's why it can actually ping. So let's do netplan, sudo netplan try, okay, and then apply. And now let's see if it still pings. Okay, so we essentially just need to put in netplan try and netplan apply. We don't need to bring down the interface using nmcli con down. But if you do run into any issues, you can do nmcli con down and then con up. If there is any issues, so just keep that in mind. All right, let me see if I can actually SSH um, into the .50 that we configured. So it's going to be Faisal. Ah, that's funny. .50.50. Um, no, we can't. Hmm. Is SSH enabled? It should be. Yeah, it's enabled. Uh, it's a little loud. Okay. So what seems to be ah, is there a conflict? I believe I set this to 50, did I not? That 50. Press OK, press back, and activate a connection, edit. Okay, press OK. Now we'll see, and let me actually bring it down, NMCL icon down. It was net plan, bring it up, IP4. Okay, so we have the .50 um, new session. We're gonna go into. Okay, so we needed to actually bring it down. So okay, I retract what I said. You do need to use nmcli con and then down to bring it down, and then up. I believe that's because for the connection to actually take effect, or actually for the configuration to actually take effect, you need to bring it down and then up. Also, you need to apply. I think the issue actually resides in the net plan. Is when I use net plan try. So if I use sudo net plan try, what it does, it overrides from the configuration file that we have. So if I press net plan try, so let's actually take a look at our IP. So it's .50 right now. So if I put netplan try using sudo privileges, and now I press type in netplan apply, and now let's take a look at our IP. Yeah, so that's the issue that's going on. So when we do netplan apply and try, or try and apply, um, it's actually getting overwritten from this file. Um, Let me cat this actually, etc netplan, and then so right here. So when we were doing the net plan, was actually getting overwritten by this. So that's why we were having the conflict. So essentially, when you're using the nmtui, the graphical user interface, do not use the net plan apply and the try method, because that's only for the configuration file. When you configure the file, then you actually use the try and the apply for the effect to take, or for it to take effect. It's similar to kind of bringing it down and then bringing up, but it's more of so like try and then apply. So that's what we were having the issue. Okay, and now let's see if we can ping. Okay, so we can ping with the 30, and we should be able to also SSH into the .30 network, root at 192.168.50.30. Okay, yes, we can. Awesome. Um, Wait, no, we can't use root. That doesn't have permissions at the moment, so we're just going to go with the Faisal user. Okay, so that works. And if I um, just to confirm this, nmtui, netplan. Yeah, so that's exactly what happened there. Now let's change this to .50. Um, Back, click OK. Oh, back, click OK. Now nmcli icon, down net plan, and then up. All right, so let's take a look. Yep. Okay, so now we figured out that um, when you do net plan try and apply, that's targeting the configuration file only, and for the nmcli, that's targeting the the nmtui, that's targeting it from the graphical user interface. So we need to actually bring that down and up with the nmtui. Okay, okay, nice to know. All right, so that should be all, guys. It's been a long video. There were some hiccups in the end, but I believe we resolved that. Um, So we took a look at how to set up the Ubuntu server. We got the ISO, and then we installed it, and then we were on the network address translation. So we were on NAT. We configured that to bridge network, and then we configured the IP statically using the nmcli command, which we used previously in our previous video. Um, and we then configured the IP statically using the configuration file in etc/netplan, and then we did netplan apply. Netplan try and apply. And there's actually some commands I didn't show you guys, which nmcli. You can use nmcli dev for device, and it will show you the status, and nmcli. And then we can do nmcli -p, and then you get to see what's disconnected, what's managed, and the configurations of the DNS. So these are actually two the commands I didn't get to show you guys in my previous video. Um, these are actually kind of very useful, actually, um, to kind of get to see what's going on. So in this case, the gateway 4 still did work. There is another method to use routes. So what you do is netplan. Oh, actually, I got a cd, or let me actually nano uh, etc netplan, and then I might have to use sudo. No, actually, I have to use sudo. Um, so instead of putting the gateways, we put in routes. So we'll just show you um, Ubuntu routes. No, that's not it. Well, essentially what you do is I will actually show you. You change this gateway to routes, and we still have our default gateway. We leave that, and we put 2, and then this is where 192.168.50.2 via, and oops, take that out. Actually, no, it's actually via 192.168.50.2. 192.168.50.30. And that's pretty much it. So we have to put routes to and then via. And then you put netplan try and then netplan apply, and then you should have configured your network um, with the configuration files. So at the moment, the default gateway 4, the gateway 4 is not actually depreciated at the moment. We're still able to use that, so that's okay for now. All right, guys, that's all for today. Hope you guys liked the video and found it helpful. I know in the end there was a little bit of a hiccup that we kind of had to resolve, but nonetheless we did it and we learned from that. If you guys, again, if you guys found it helpful, give it a like. If you guys have any suggestions on how to configure it a little, what's it called, more, you guys know what I'm saying. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one.